to our meeting, your meeting. Today's invocation will be by Pastor Kristen Old of St. John's Baptist. Welcome.
Thank you, Council, for the opportunity to open the meeting this evening. Will you pray with me? God, we thank you for the beautiful weather and the freedom to gather and discuss the work of this beautiful city we call home. We thank you for the leaders you've given us and the work that they do daily on our behalf. As we come together for our meeting tonight, we ask that you would help us to be open and honest in our communication, but also help us to be respectful as we discuss your work here. Help us to continue to come together as a city and work together for the better good of the entire city. Help us to show love to one another and to truly care for our neighbors. God, we thank you for the opportunity to be together tonight. Guide our conversations and each person who participates to bring about a better city, a better state, a better country, and a better world. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have the roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. All present, excluding Councilmember Berlucci.
Righty, and then moving forward, could I ask for a motion for certification of the closed session?
So moved with the notation of when I entered and left the meeting.
Okay. Do I have a second? All right, vote is open.
Councilmember Branch, may I have your vote, please? Thank you. By a vote of 10-0, you certify the closed session to be in accordance with the motion to recess.
Okay, and thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the informal and formal sessions of October 4th, 2022, and the formal session of October 11th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
All righty, vote's open.
Just 1 second, please. The vote is open. Thanks. By a vote of 10-0, you have approved the minutes as submitted.
Okay, thank you. At this point, we're going to come on to a great part of what we have been doing with the 60th anniversary award. Gina? Hey, what's happening?
Good evening, Mayor Dyer, Vice Mayor Wilson, council members, and City Manager Jahaney. Thank you for having me back. I work in the city's communications office, and tonight I'm here to debut for you the 10th episode of our Nostalgic VB series, highlighting pivotal moments in Virginia Beach history as we count down to our 60th anniversary celebration next year. So please join us for a look back at 2008 through 2012.
The United States rolled into 2008 reeling from the bursting of the housing bubble, a result of subprime mortgages that eventually sent shockwaves through the U.S. and international economies. By the time the nation's first black president, Barack Obama, declared victory that November, the country had already begun to slide into the Great Recession, an economic downturn that would last for about 3 years, but the effects of which would reverberate throughout Virginia Beach for even longer. In November of 2008, the Virginia Beach Budget Office forecasted a $22 million budget shortfall for the 2009-2010 budget, a result of the first drop in real estate revenue in 15 years. In successive years, that gap continued to grow, and by 2012, city leaders had to close a $90 million deficit. At a time when at least 8 municipalities across the country were forced to file for bankruptcy, Virginia Beach was able to weather the storm, successfully keeping costs as low as possible for citizens without sacrificing quality of life. 2008 also marked the end of an era. Voters picked William D. Sessoms to be the new mayor of Virginia Beach, closing out the tenure of the city's first elected, longest-serving, and first female mayor, Myra Oberndorf. In 2009, coinciding with the Virginia Beach Public Library's 50th anniversary, the city renamed the Central Library the Myra E. Oberndorf Central Library in her honor. In 2010, the city unveiled a $1.4 million Kids Cove playground renovation at Mount Trashmore, which doubled the size of the previous facility built by volunteers in 1993. That same year, thanks to the generosity of the Thompson family and several other donors, JT's Gromit Island Beach Park and Playground opened in the resort area adjacent to Rudy Inlet. The 1,500 square foot park, the first of its kind in the nation, was built right on the sand and featured wheelchair accessible entrances, a sensory board for children who are autistic and visually impaired, accessible seating areas, and more. Literally making the space accommodating for everybody. In 2011, Virginia Beach's newest acute care center, Centera Princess Anne Hospital, opened its doors following the closure of Centera Bayside Hospital. At the time, the new 440,000 square foot, $173 million facility located in the Lansdowne corridor was expected to serve 150,000 patients annually. Later that December, the city also celebrated the opening of the new Virginia Beach Animal Care and Adoption Center on Bird Neck Road. It quadrupled the footprint of the previous shelter and provided a healthier environment, better adoption areas, and specialized medical facilities. In 2011, with the help of the Trust for Public Land and the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, Virginia Beach purchased the 122-acre Pleasure House Point property for $13 million. This move preserved the 108-acre enclave of marsh, dunes, beachfront, trails, and forest, which had been slated to become a 1,000-home neighborhood and marina for the enjoyment of generations to come. 1 year later, on Friday, April 6, 2012, an F-18 fighter jet assigned to Naval Air Station Oceana crashed into Mayfair Mews Apartments on Bird Neck Road. Astonishingly, there were no deaths. The pilots and the residents of the apartment complex were all able to escape without serious injury in what quickly became known as the Good Friday Miracle.
We had just spent the previous 4 or 5 months working with the Navy and the City of Virginia Beach firefighters on how to fight an aircraft mishap. It was controlled chaos, but amazing professionalism by the City of Virginia Beach and the Navy firefighters. Truly a textbook response. But the miracle was that nobody was seriously injured or killed that day. Did we do everything we could to do the right thing, to take care of the people of Virginia Beach? Because we're all neighbors and we're all friends and we all live together and we all work together and we just got this unbelievable team. And to me, that's another lesson in how when you have good people coming together to do the right thing, anything can happen.
Well, that wraps up our look back at 2008 through 2012. The next installment in the Nostalgic VB series will be a refresher on the major moments of 2013 through 2017.
If you have pictures or videos you'd like to share that capture the early days of Virginia Beach or proud reflections of what makes this city your home, we would love to hear from you. Visit vbgov.com/nostalgicvb for step-by-step directions on how to get those pictures and videos to us. We thank you in advance for sharing.
That was a fun one. If you haven't had a chance to see them yet, please check out volumes 1 through 9 on the city's YouTube channel, Access Virginia Beach. And we invite you to subscribe, like, share, and come back for new content. I'd also be remiss if I didn't take time to recognize the invaluable service of the Virginia Beach Public Library's municipal reference staff. They've been so helpful in tracking down images, old articles, video clips to help bring these important stories of our history to life. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge the consistently excellent work of our videographer and editor, Anya Linka, in the City Creative Services office. She's just been absolutely wonderful to work with. One of the key components of the Nostalgic VB campaign is the Virginia Beach Diamond Award. The Diamond Award was developed to recognize the important contributions of residents who have made a difference in the lives of Virginia Beach, in the Virginia Beach community, or played a role in the progress and development of our city. Today, we'd like to honor 2 of the most dedicated public servants we've ever seen. I will now turn it over to Mayor Dyer to read the first proclamation. And as the mayor gets in place, would Pastor Mike Daniels please come forward and join me at the podium?
Good evening, Pastor Daniels. Welcome. I'll tell you what, Pastor Daniels, you're a true icon, and we can't thank you enough for your valuable contribution to our community that makes Virginia Beach so great. I've asked Council Lady Wooten to be so kind to honor you with the words.
It is indeed my pleasure and honor to read the proclamation for Dr. Michael Daniels. Whereas for more than a half a century, Dr. Michael Daniels has been an exemplary servant leader in Virginia Beach as a community advocate and pastor of Enoch Baptist Church. And whereas Pastor Daniels is a steadfast champion of at-risk youth and has been instrumental in establishing programs to improve the lives of residents of Western Bayside. And whereas he has dedicated his career to making a difference in the local community by developing advocacy programs to support racial and economic equality, and developing strategic partnerships designed to promote strong community relations and citizen engagement. Whereas Pastor Daniels has been recognized for his efforts to help the people of Virginia Beach and the greater Hampton Roads area by the NAACP, the Human Rights Commission, the Hampton Roads Black Caucus, the governor, and the U.S. House of Representatives. And whereas Pastor Daniels has served on the Youth Violence Prevention Task Force, the Public Library Board, and the 2020 Census Committee to help ensure Virginia Beach receives its fair share of federal funding. And whereas as a local leader, Pastor Daniels has focused on improving the circumstances of underserved communities and worked to strengthen the bonds among people of different racial, ethnic, and racial backgrounds, all with the goal of making our community a better place. And whereas Nostalgic VB is a celebration of Virginia Beach pioneers and residents leading up to the 60th anniversary of our great city in January 2023, now therefore, Robert M. Bobby Dyer, Mayor of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia, do hereby proclaim Dr. Michael Daniels, recipient of the Virginia Beach Diamond Award. In Virginia Beach, and I call upon the citizens and members within government agencies, public and private institutions, business and schools in Virginia Beach to be of service for the benefit and betterment of the community so that the future generations can appreciate and further uplift our beloved city of Virginia Beach. In witness whereof, I hereto set my hand and cause the official seal of the city of Virginia Beach, Virginia, to be affixed this 18th day of October 2022.
To Mayor Dyer and to all of the council members. First of all, I want to say just thank you for this recognition. I can tell you I am extremely humbled by receiving this. I was taught when I was a child that you always do the right thing, not to be honored, but because it's the right thing to do. My father said to me a long time ago, anytime you have an opportunity to do what needs to be done, always take that opportunity and exercise it to the fullest extent. And so I am just thrilled that you all thought enough to just recognize me for doing what I consider to be what was just the right thing to do. So thank you so very much. I really consider this a great honor, and I appreciate it and will always cherish it. Thank you very much. My prayers are with you always.
Hang in there, Rosemary.
We're not done with you yet, Dr. Daniels. It's an honor for us to have you here with us, and you are definitely the gift that just keeps on giving, because you keep giving to your community. And thank you so much for your serving as co-chair with the Youth Violence Prevention Task Force. And I think some really beautiful things are going to come out of the work that's being done. And so we'll just thank you, and from a grateful city.
Thank you so very much.
And Pastor Daniels, you may be, quote, retired, but you're continuing to do more stuff. God bless you. And thank you for helping make Virginia Beach the great city it is. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Now we're going to call a friend of our city, Bob Geis. Come on up. He may work in Chesapeake, but you're still living here, right? We're not going to tell the mayor of, over there. But I tell you what, Bob, is such an honor. And, before I read the official proclamation, Bob is a former commanding officer of Oceana. And we've had the blessing of having a seamless continuum of excellence in leadership and collaboration with Oceana for some time now. And Bob, I just want to personally thank you, just for not being a wonderful person and a friend of Virginia Beach, but I tell you what, you went a long way to really help the Navy's relationships with the city that loves and adore the Navy and all the families and everything. You are part of the DNA of this city, and for that I thank you. Whereas, for nearly 30 years, Robert, Bob, you go by Goose too, right? Yeah, that's his call sign, okay? I had nothing to do with it. Served the nation honorably as a naval aviator and officer. And whereas the commander of Naval Air Station Oceana in the 212, he led the Navy's response and recovery effort following the Good Friday miracle, an incident in which an F-18 fighter jet assigned to Naval Air Station Oceana crashed into the Mayfair Mews apartments on Bird Neck Road. And whereas Bob Geis ensured that the Navy took every step possible to help impacted Virginia Beach residents recover from the incidents, including securing funding from the Pentagon to assist with living expenses, having staff come in on Easter Sunday to generate and issue checks, enlisting the Department of Motor Vehicles to help replace lost identification, as well as bringing Environmental Protection Agency and Virginia Department of Environmental Quality to ensure the reclamation process was appropriate and safe. Whereas Mr. Geis, Captain Geis, was also a Washington Navy Yard assigned to Naval Installations Command, where the traffic shooting occurred in September of 2013, and was called upon to lead the post-incident assessment of all assured Navy security, as well as implement those recommended improvements. Mr. Geis was on final duty ashore, was as the Chief of Staff of the Naval Region Mid-Atlantic, the largest U.S. Navy region, which included 14 installations and 48 Naval Operations Support Center across 20 states. Whereas today, Bob Geis continues to serve the local community as Deputy City Manager, leading the City of Chesapeake's major operational departments, including Public Safety, Public Works, Public Utilities, and the city's fleet and garage. And whereas Nostalgic VB is a celebration of the Virginia Beach pioneers, residents, and residents leading up to the 60th anniversary of our great city in January of 2023. Therefore, I now, Bobby Dyer, Mayor of Virginia Beach, do hereby proclaim Robert, Bob, and Geis, recipient of the Virginia Beach Diamond Award in Virginia Beach, and I call upon all citizens and members within government agencies and public and private institutions, business and schools in Virginia Beach to be of service for the benefit of betterment of the community so that the future generations can appreciate and further uplift our beloved city of Virginia Beach.
Something.
Wow, quite an honor, and I'm certainly humbled as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Vice Mayor, members of council, staff. It's wonderful to be here. What a beautiful facility here as well. So I just loved watching it being built and just the beauty of the outside and really matched by the beauty of the inside here. So what a wonderful achievement here as well. But thank you for this honor, and truly I am humbled and blessed to be here and to represent just a small portion of Virginia Beach's history. I'm a transplant here, but certainly this is our home. We love it here, and we're super proud to be residents here in Virginia Beach. And when I think back to 2012 and the jet crash, obviously I'm flooded with emotions and certainly memories. And the first and foremost is the response that day was exactly as we had trained. So we had spent many, many months working with the Navy and the city of Virginia Beach, working on training on aircraft mishaps. So it was amazing timing on that. So that was exactly as we had planned. So exactly as we had trained. But that's not the most important. It was truly miraculous. It was a miracle that nobody was seriously injured or killed. Training didn't do that. That was a miracle. There's no doubt about it. And then the hours and days and weeks that followed, it was a pickup game. It was just good people coming together with goodness in their heart, trying to do the right thing for the residents of Mayfair Mews. It was neighbors helping neighbors. It was really energizing to see just the wonderful heart and spirit of the city of Virginia Beach staff, the Navy, and all working together for that common goal. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention specifically Mayor Sessoms and Jim Spohr and Jim Severa and Steve Cover and Cindy Curtis and all the people on the staff that we worked tirelessly with to do the right thing. And then on the Navy side, Kit Choate, my XO, CMC, Bill Smaltz, and our fire chief, Ken Snyder, who worked tirelessly to do the right thing. And it's truly just, when I look back at that, I just think of the teamwork and the wonderful people coming together to do the right thing. So thank you again for this honor. It's truly a blessing and honor, and I love being a resident of Virginia Beach. It's a great place to live.
Yeah, I'll tell Rick West you said that.
I will tell him as well.
But seriously, I think it just shows the spirit of what makes Virginia Beach so great are the people of Virginia Beach that work collaboratively and together. And, in Virginia Beach, we're one big family. And but once again, I can't tell you how much we value the military right here. And like I said, the people that serve in uniform with their spouses and families are part of the DNA of our great city. And for that, we are eternally grateful. Thank you. Most appreciated. Okay, great. Now we're on to public comment for the allocation of the award, Edward Byrne Justice Assistance Grant, law enforcement purposes. Public comment?
We have two speakers, sir. The first speaker is Barbara Messner. After Ms. Messner is Sarah Gerloff.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay. This is on 2 pages. Yeah, except from the Burn Justice Grant to the 2022-2023 Police Department Operating Budget and Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court Law Enforcement Equipment. Y'all don't budget properly, and you can't hire enough people to work for the police. I just saw a Portsmouth police car out there. You have training for Portsmouth. With all the problems they have over here, you have joint training. You should take care of your own city with air money. And all this money, moving money around, you've used COVID money, the mass shooting money. I forgot to bring the picture of the victim families. It's going on 4 years. 4 years. And that was totally preventable. You wouldn't have your Taj Mahal, your tacky Taj Mahal, if it wasn't for that mass shooting, because no one wanted you to have a second city hall. So, thank you.
The next speaker is Sarah Gerloff.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, so the purpose of this hearing is to establish a special assessment and special property tax on the real property and to finance certain public improvements benefiting property within the Atlantic Park Community Development Authority District.
I apologize. We have you
that's not the
signed
item.
up on the Edward Byrne. Did you sign up for the Atlantic Park? I apologize.
No, I emailed and said it was this one.
I know there was a response, so it's the next item. I
That's the
apologize.
next item.
I apologize. We'll call you back up. Thank you.
You'll be back. All right, anyone else?
No, sir, that's all.
Okay, now we'll move on to the Atlantic Park Community Development Authority District public hearing. Speakers, please.
We have 2 speakers on that. Sarah Gerloff, again, I apologize.
Welcome back.
And after Ms. Gerloff will be Barbara Messner.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, so the purpose of this hearing is to establish a special assessment and special property tax on the real property and to finance certain public improvements benefiting property within the Atlantic Park Community Development Authority District. So let me remind you what government is and what government is not. Government is created to protect our unalienable God-given rights. A right is a gift from God and thus may not be taxed. We have a right to property, thus it may not be taxed. Government was not created to be a business. You have not been acting like elected representatives, but more like corporate board members conducting business such as marketing, promoting, donating our money to special interest groups, financing and developing property, buying and selling our land to benefit a select few. You have been given many opportunities to change the wrong path you're on, but you still refuse to change on your own free will. Thomas Jefferson said, quote, "God who gave us life gave us liberty. And can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed their only firm basis, a conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are a gift of God, that they are not to be violated, but with his wrath? Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever," end quote. All the unrest in the world is because the sleeping giant has been awakened, and the apocalypse is in full swing. Sometimes love is hard to see. Sometimes love comes in the form of a lion, tough love. You had a very important job to protect the people's unalienable God-given rights, their gifts, but instead you chose to infringe upon their rights, thus causing harm. I am mad at you for harming those that you swore an oath to protect. I am mad at you because you have treated people unequally. I am mad at you because you were created better than that. I have shared my valuable time with you, but you have been wasting my gift because you still refuse to change your wrong behavior. in return for wasting my time. I want your time. Your debt is due.
The next speaker is Barbara Messner.
Okay. Atlantic Park Community Development Authority, new district, CDA, establish special assessment and special property taxes. The real property to finance certain public improvements benefiting property within the district. Atlantic Park, this is absolutely insane. And, you know, Parks and Rec, you can't find people for Parks and Rec. You can't find police. You've lowered the standards since we had a different police chief. For the fire, if you had a decent place to work, people would want to work here. You used not to have to advertise. It was in the paper. And then approve methodology and apportioning special assessment. Okay, as I said, some people have conflicts. You know, I held this up before. This is 2014, and some of the developers here have donated to y'all. And, you know, one of your vice mayor, her family business audits electric utilities, interstate transportation companies, oil and gas companies, banks, savings institutions, labor organizations. We don't have any oversight of anything when y'all appoint people. I'm glad Linwood and Mr. Moss, who pretends to look out, oh gosh, where's your Kool-Aid? You know, pouring Kool-Aid, pretending you care. Do you know there were school buses gassing at, you know, Hilltop? Exxon, Chevron, BP, and Dominion. You have conflicts. Thank you.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, thank you all very much. At this point, I'll read the speaker's policy. I want to remind everyone that the City Council speaker policy that allows certain representatives of groups to speak for 10 minutes applies only to planning items. All other speakers, whether speaking individually or on behalf of a group, will have up to 3 minutes to speak on a single item. Speakers are reminded that comments during the formal session of the meeting must be limited to the subject of the item that is being considered by the council at the time you are called. For items placed on the consent agenda, a speaker will have up to 3 minutes to address any single item. If a speaker wishes to address multiple consent agenda items, the speaker will have a cumulative total of 6 minutes to address those items. Again, the speaker must limit his or her comments to the subject matter of the items they have signed up to address. Finally, I call upon all speakers and all persons in the chamber to be civil in their discussions and decorum. Whatever views you hold and wish to express, the City Council wants to hear from you and to ensure that all viewpoints and all persons are respected. The best way to do this is for all of us to strive for civility and respect. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have any multi-item speakers?
Barbara Messner. Ms. Messner, the only items that are pulled from the consent agenda, so you'll speak on all other items at this time except for K4, K5, K7, L3 and L5.
Wait. L3 and L5. I watched the end and I heard Rosemary Wilson say 4, 5, and 6. So I did watch. Okay. We've already talked about the authority, the dictatorship. And on taxes, I appreciate the fact that Ms. Feckety is here. I hope she plans to speak because she talked about abolishing the food tax. But we need to abolish the alcohol tax. The alcohol lobby is a major problem. Okay. Noise. I thought y'all were going to defer that. Tower and Moss. You know, the city is not exempt from the noise ordinance. If we have an ordinance for everyone, you can't have loud concerts. You know, the police station by the 7-Eleven, those people at Shuckers, it's overflow. It's like an event there, and people are drinking, and they're right on the corner about to fall in the street, and nothing is done. Okay. Yeah, and okay. 4, 5, you said 6 wasn't pulled, that 7 was pulled. Acquire property. Fee simple or acquisition. CIP, pump stations, you haven't taken care of the infrastructure. Pacific Avenue is like a third world country. Those roads are deplorable. It's because all these motor coaches and all this traffic, and the paving is thin, but it's the sewer pipes underneath that can't handle all these mixed-use properties that you're building everywhere. Okay, surplus equipment. We talked about this before. 167,000 new fireboat for fire department. And I saw the article about the firemen, fundraisers for a fireman that has cancer. 2018, most of y'all were here, or you should have been paying attention. 2018 budget, the firemen begged for help. They begged for help and you ignored them. 4 years of help might have made a difference for some of these firemen. Okay. General fund, Mid-Atlantic broadband. We don't need all this broadband. You don't need to be in the business. It needs to be private industry. Okay, FEMA, 851,000, almost $1 million. From FEMA to the 2022-2023 Fire Department operating budget and support continued operations for Task Force Urban Search and Rescue. I wish we had a full force so they wouldn't have to leave because they're already shorthanded. I appreciate what they do in Florida. But, we should have excess firemen to go and not have it affect what goes on here. Okay. 13's the same thing, 14. Just FEMA. The first thing you did after Hurricane Matthew was you used FEMA money for the ocean front by the breakers. Okay. Accept and appropriate $38,569 from Department of Criminal Justice Services to 2022-2023 Human Services operating budget. You've had people leaving in droves from Human Services, from every department in the city. We had 9,001 employees in 2018. And instead of replacing them with full-time qualified people, you do 2 part-time so they don't have benefits, and then you wonder why people don't want to stay or work here. Plus, it's a toxic environment. You arrested and fired somebody for speaking out for their free speech. People have a right to say, what they think about what happens in their city if they're a city employee or a resident. And another, Senior Living LLC, another HUD scam. Summer House, a HUD scam. All this mixed use, your idea of social engineering. It's not your job to social engineer a city and to honor certain people and not others. That's discrimination. It's also pandering. Okay. Another tattoo parlor. And another assembly. There are events everywhere. And you're having a fundraiser on the 20th for the fireman that has cancer at the brewery that shouldn't be in that shopping center. But the citizens shouldn't have to pay for things. Our government, if they screw up, they should pay for their mistakes. And y'all screw up a lot. And you smug and smirk, and you ignore the state codes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Okay, Madam Vice Mayor, would you be so kind?
Yes, and also just want everybody to know that L3 has been pulled. So I'm not going to be reading that. That was the one Ms. Henley wanted to comment on too. Under ordinances and resolutions, K1, ordinance to establish a special assessment and a special property tax, Ray, Atlantic Park Community Development Authority, CDA, and authorize an MOU. Number 2, the ordinance to amend the City Code Section, Chapter 23, Article 11, Ray, the noise ordinance requested by council members Tower and Marsh, and it's going to be deferred from July 12th, and it's going to be deferred until December 6th. The ordinance, number 3, the ordinance to appropriate $1 million from the TIP fund balance to the Virginia Beach Development Authority, the VBDA, regarding the amphitheater roof repairs and renovations requested by council members Branch and Moss. It was deferred from October 4th. Number 6, the ordinance to authorize acquisition of property in fee simple, either by agreement or condemnation regarding the Euclid Place Pump Station, CIP 100-327. Number 7, ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement between this, 7's been pulled. Number 8, resolution to appoint Donna Hernandez, Assistant City Attorney, effective November 3rd, 2022. Number 9, ordinance to appropriate $164,700 from the sale of surplus equipment to capital project 100-175, fire apparatus. Number 4, Ray purchase a new fireboat for the fire department. Number 10, ordinance to appropriate $25,000 from the general fund balance, Ray, the refund of MVCC Development, LLC, Mid-Atlantic Broadband, cash deposit. Number 11, ordinance to appropriate $7,198 from the library gift fund balance to FY 2022-23 Public Library Operating Budget, Ray, the purchase scanners for the Edgar T. Brown Local History Archive. Number 12, ordinance to accept and appropriate $851,149 from the Federal Emergency Management Agency to the FY 2022-23 Fire Department Operation Budget. Ray, support the continued operations for the Virginia Task Force 2 Urban Search and Rescue Team. Number 13 is the ordinance to accept and appropriate $214,663.37 from the Federal Emergency Management Agency to the FY 2022-23 Fire Department Operating Budget and support deployment and administrative costs for the Virginia Task Force 2 Urban Search and Rescue Team. Ray, mobilization to Kentucky. Number 14 is ordinance to accept and appropriate $181,350 from the Federal Emergency Management Agency to the FY 2022-23 Fire Department Operating Budget Rate to support equipment purchases for the Virginia Task Force 2 Urban Search and Rescue Team. Number 15 is the ordinance to accept and appropriate $71,661 from the Edward Byrne Justice Grant to the FY 2022-23 Police Department operating budget and Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court Ray Law Enforcement Equipment. Number 16 is the ordinance to accept and appropriate $38,569 from the Department of Criminal Justice Services to the FY 2022-23 Human Services Operating Budget Ray Support salary increases for full-time state-funded positions providing community corrections and pretrial services.
Open a public hearing on planning.
Number 1, Darren and Marcella King Joint Revocable Living Trust for a variance in section 4.4 of the subdivision regulations, Ray property record plat, and to provide public street access at 3931 Richardson Road, District 8. Excuse me. Number 2, Take 5 Properties SPV LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, for modification of conditions, Ray Automobile Repair Garage at 3680 Holland Road, District 3. Sorry. Number 3 is been pulled. Number 4, Anthony Lee Franco, Providence Square Associates LLC for a conditional use permit regarding tattoo parlor at 1001 Gibbsville Road, Suites 1049, 1051, and 1053, District 1. Number 6, Boeing U.S. Hold Company Incorporated, NMP C4 Fairfield SC LLC for a conditional use permit regarding a car wash facility at 837 Kempsville Road, District 3. Number 7, Bel Air LLC and Take 5 Properties SPV LLC, Bel Air LLC for conditional use permits regarding automobile repair garage and car wash at 1552 General Booth Boulevard, District 5. And number 8, Susan Lamore for a conditional use permit regarding a short-term rental at 303 Atlantic Avenue, Unit 1005, District 5. Number 9 is Thomas Cunningham for a conditional use permit regarding short-term rental at 4005 Atlantic Avenue, Unit 207, District 6. And last but not least is number 10, Greg Zenas for a conditional use permit regarding short-term rental at 304 26th Street and a half Street, Unit B, District 6. Move for approval.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion? Mr. Moss.
Just 3 things, just for the audience Just for the audience that is watching. Item 1, which was establishing the special assessment, special property district. We did that to ensure that the general tax base was not responsible for paying for the debt service for the public projects that are unique to that district. So this is a good thing. I know some people look at that, might have heard from the comments that somehow that something was happening there, but this was to isolate the responsibility for debt service for that project to the properties and revenue within that project, number 1. On the noise ordinance, the reason why we've shifted that is because we're going to hold a workshop on November the 10th, and then we need time for Mr. Tower and I to adjudicate with the staff all the comments received, and then get it to the council before Thanksgiving. Holding public votes on major issues before Thanksgiving is not a good thing, so we decided to push that till December. And lastly, I do appreciate the support of my colleague, Mr. Branch, by pushing that to be paired to the TIP fund, and I do appreciate that very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? The vote is open.
By a vote of 10-0, you approve the consent agenda as read by Vice Mayor Wilson.
Okay, moving back to the ordinances, K4 is a resolution to establish a Virginia Beach Cannabis Advisory Task Force, requested by Council Members Belushi and Tower. Any speakers?
We have 2 speakers. The first speaker is Barbara Massner. After Ms. Massner is Tony Esposito. This is K4.
K4. And I still don't understand why people don't read the agenda and show up. Showing up is one thing, but you need to digest these agendas and speak. Okay. Virginia Beach Cannabis Advisory Task Force. I would advise y'all not to have the vape stores open with pool halls during COVID, your idea of COVID. You selectively open and close what you want. That's discrimination. You know, pot and COVID are dangerous and they're mixed with other things. We have a problem with drugs. We don't need y'all deciding on task force. I saw WPL outside, Portsmouth Police. You know, you need to take care of this city. It's air tax dollars. Shouldn't be mixed with other cities. We don't need regional authorities. Berlucci's not here again. And Tower. You know, for people who don't know, it's on the city's website. He's proud of it. He's a shareholder and stockholder of Kaufman and Knowles, who we've been paying for outside legal work for over 20 years. There's conflicts. You love your 10-0 votes. And I heard Ms. Hindley say Mr. Bellucci told her something was okay, that there was no opposition. Y'all must have dollars plugged in your ears if you don't think there's opposition, because some people like myself come and we've been speaking out against these items for a long time. You don't have enough people to go to these places. The health department, you've gone through a couple health directors that didn't know what end was up and what end was down, and they were working for Norfolk at the same time. I mean, you don't take care of the city, zoning, permits, everything. It's just a game. So anyway, you don't need to pick who advisory task force. You have nothing but liaisons, committees, and you appoint yourselves, and we're not allowed to speak on who you appoint. Thank you.
The next speaker is Tony Esposito.
Good evening, welcome.
Good evening. I'd like to say it's an honor to speak in front of you, Mayor, and guests and council members. I'm also speaking on the task force. I've been a father for 7.5 years. I've been a husband for now going on 14 years. I'm a very proud dad, and I'm a very proud husband of a successful anesthesiologist. I'm also founder of the VCCSB, the Virginia Coalition for Cannabis and Small Business. I'm also the condo board president in my community since 2006, and I'm proud to say that my community is one of the only financially sound condo associations in the entire country. Now, speaking on this task force, I don't know if everybody knows the history of this plant in this state. In the 1600s, specifically 1619, the Virginia Assembly passed legislation requiring all farmers to grow hemp. If you didn't, you were fined. 1850, marijuana was added to the pharmacopoeia. It was used as a treatment for opiate withdrawal, pain, appetite stimulation, and relief of nausea and vomiting. What I'm getting at is I think that the previous governor had slated that this plant was going to be recreational in the month of September of this year. When Governor Youngkin got in, everything changed. What I really would like to emphasize is from 1900 to 1930, for 3 decades, marijuana was an ingredient in a variety of medications. It was used for spasms. And at the same time, in 1930 was when the Great Depression hit. Mexican immigrants introduced recreational use of marijuana because the drug became associated with the Mexican immigrants. People began to fear the drug, with an anti-drug campaigners referring to as the Mexican menace. 1930 was the hit of the Great Depression. This led to a more public concern over dangers of marijuana. The media began to report that research showed that marijuana use was linked to crime and violence. At the same time, Harry Aslinger, the commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, began a campaign, which was a slander campaign, to criminalize marijuana, claiming that it led to insanity. As a result of his efforts, by 1936, all the states in the Union had some form of marijuana regulation laws. And we've been working backwards ever since. You want to solve the problem of your $22 million deficit. You got Big Pharma, Big Canna, gives the city their fees, their $1 million, $2 million licensing fees. I know a community of vendors and caregivers that would be willing to pay every city they vend in a $200 monthly fee to allow them to vend in that city for the month. And I know hundreds, if not thousands of vendors, and we have 7 cities, and we vend in all these cities. Now, that flow of cash could help. I'm not going to pretend and sit here.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Am I over?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay. Mr. Tower.
Move the adoption.
Second? Anybody second?
Second.
Any discussion? Vote is open.
By a vote of 10 to 0, you have approved the resolution to establish a task force.
Okay, moving on now is a resolution to approve the school board's entry into the interim agreement rate design of work at Princess Anne High School, B.F. Williams, Bayside 6th, and Bayside High School, requested by Virginia Beach School Board, deferred from September 6th.
We have 3 speakers. The first speaker is Barbara Messner. After Ms. Messner will be Crystal Pate.
Okay. Which item?
K5, ma'am.
K5?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On that last speaker, he's right about this. It's like it's all about the money. It's all about the money, and you shouldn't be handling the money. People have free will. They can do what they want. If they break laws, then that's what you're supposed to do, arrest
Please
them.
stick to the item at hand.
Okay. Approve the school board's entry an interim contract, design work on Princess Anne High School. That's what Mr. Moss ran on in 2011. And I heard y'all talking, I think you mentioned Ballard is, Ballard and Garcia have been getting the contract since the 50s, Lincoln Elementary School. These schools should have been fixed a long time ago. We don't need new Taj Mahal schools. We need to maintain them. They don't need to have mold, asbestos. I think Thalia Elementary School, the teachers and the students and parents, they were in school during asbestos removal. Y'all have been negligent on public safety for a long time. So, no interim agreements, no design work, kicking the can down the road. I heard y'all talk about this. And certain people who've taken donations from these developers, like some people took donations from MEB to build this, and now MEB has an office there. Rudolph, now they have an office on General Booth Boulevard. It's like this city, you just look out for the developers, and they look out for y'all. You're supposed to be looking out for all the people, not select people. CIP, capital improvement. You know, there's plenty of schools that are, and there should be no portable classrooms. That's not safe. We have major problems with, vehicles crashing into buildings all the time. No child should be, or teacher should be in a portable classroom. Thank you.
The next speaker is Crystal Pate. After Ms. Pate is Jack Freeman.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Dyer, Vice Mayor Wilson, members of City Council, and Mr. Haney. My name is Crystal Pate. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Virginia Beach City Public Schools. As we met with city budget staff and the city manager last week, it was determined that council should receive in your Friday packet a draft of Virginia Beach City Public Schools presentation related to our proposed resolution on reversion and the revenue sharing formula reconciliation, along with a memo from Mr. Haney. These documents contain recommendations in draft form that provide City Council an understanding that it is possible for the school board to put additional funding into its capital projects through the reversion process, which is information we wanted to share with Council as they consider our PPA interim agreement that is on the agenda this evening. As noted in the documents, the total amount eligible for reappropriation is approximately $46.7 million. Approximately $21.1 million as a result of unexpended appropriations and overperforming revenues for the school division. The remaining $25.6 million is the result of the revenue sharing formula reconciliation, which, as you know, represents certain city revenues that overperform in the prior fiscal year, whereas the school division receives a portion. This information was presented to our Planning and Performance Monitoring Committee on October 10th, and there is public information. To note, this committee does not have any decision-making authority. A presentation of these recommendations to our school board is on October 25th, and there will be an opportunity for discussion with a vote scheduled by the school board on November 9th. Virginia Beach City Public Schools is proposing that $21.3 million of the $46.7 million be reappropriated to support the replacement of Princess Anne High School at $10 million, Bayside High School at approximately $4.3 million, and Betty F. Williams Bayside 6 at $7 million. The request also includes $3.8 million of unexpended debt service as PAYGO funding and approximately $5.6 million to replenish the CIP program, where state construction grant funding came in under the state's original estimate. There is also $11 million as approved in the 6-year CIP project to HVAC and re-roofing projects. This represents about 96% of our reappropriation request. We believe it's important that if this resolution is approved by school board and city council in the coming months, it will likely lower the overall request for additional borrowing capacity from VBCPS for its capital improvement program. And we hope that future years will allow us to continue this effort. We understand the concern council and staff have regarding the debt capacity and related bond ratings. We watched the briefing by Davenport Consulting on this topic and realized that there is work to be done, but that debt capacity still exists, and that as a component unit of the city, we would like the school division's capital and improvement projects to be included and considered along with the city's projects as the process with Davenport progresses. We know there are competing interests and capital improvement interests to go across city and schools, but want to demonstrate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the
Appreciate
opportunity.
it.
The next speaker is Jack Freeman.
Good evening.
I'm Jack Freeman, Chief Operations Officer for Virginia Beach City Public Schools. Thank you for the opportunity to share some final information for consideration prior to your decision regarding the proposed PPA interim agreement. A couple of refreshers. This is low risk. The roughly $15 million in design funding needed for this is already available in the CIP. That money would be used to reach about 30% design on each of those buildings that enable the development of a draft comprehensive agreement. Those designs could then be used to support either a PPEA process or a design bid build process. Again, there's low risk to the $15 million. This vote does not commit the city or the school board to any further than those designs. Any potential recommendation to proceed with the PPA would require additional approval first by the school board, then by city council, and that would occur roughly next summer, giving an opportunity to any future school board or city council members to weigh in on this. At this point, we don't know what the recommendation would be. We need to get more information, which is the point of entering into an interim agreement, which will result in a draft
comprehensive agreement. We know that cost is a concern. If this interim agreement is approved today, over the next 6 to 8 months, a draft comprehensive agreement would be developed that would include a guaranteed maximum price for construction of all 3 school buildings. There's a potential cost avoidance of tens of millions of taxpayers' dollars. That includes cost avoidance due to inflation and the efficiencies of one contractor building 3 facilities under one contract. I want to emphasize this is potential cost avoidance. We won't know the actual cost avoidance until we draft a comprehensive agreement. One final comment on cost. We all know that time is money. This interim agreement has already been delayed once. Continuing to delay the interim agreement will decrease the cost avoidance that can be achieved. We all know that debt service is a concern. In addition to the guaranteed maximum price, drafting a comprehensive agreement will also enable us to thoroughly evaluate the impact of the city's debt service and repayment. We saw the presentation by Davenport at the last meeting and are interested in ensuring that we get to complete transparency on the impact to debt service. We know that community perceptions are a concern. If approved to proceed with the interim agreement and the design of those buildings, the community input and communications will clearly articulate that there is no fixed timeline to complete these projects and that the timelines could vary significantly. We are confident that we can manage those perceptions at the school board level. Finally, based on the ages of our school buildings, our recent renovations and new construction included John B. Dyer, Kellum High School, Old Donation School, Thorogood Elementary School, and Prince Anne Middle School. This is the potential opportunity to provide meaningful improvement in the Princess Anne and Bayside areas of our city. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Rouse.
Mr. Freeman, before you go, can you come back for a second? Can you repeat those lists of schools? I believe the last schools you just listed of improvement was just completed.
John B. Dye, Kellum High School, Old Donation School, Thorogood Elementary School, and Prince Anne Middle School.
Thank you. And can you repeat for our listening audience the part about the guaranteed price and potential cost avoidance?
Yeah, as part of the PPA process that with the total comprehensive agreement, that would include a guaranteed maximum price, which means a not to exceed price that would cover all 3 of those schools. And your other question was?
The potential cost avoidance of locking this in now.
Yeah, potential cost avoidance of tens of millions of dollars. Again, I want to emphasize that that's potential. We won't know that until we actually get to look at what the draft comprehensive agreement says.
And that still will come back before this body and the school board, correct?
And it would come back if we go into the interim agreement, and that would allow us to develop a draft comprehensive agreement. In order for it to go through, if it was our recommendation, and I'm not saying that it would be our recommendation, we need to evaluate it first. If it was our recommendation, it would have to go to the school board for approval first. If the school board approved it, then it would come to city council for approval at that point in time, and that would be roughly over the next summer.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, if there are any more speakers, I'd like to approve for approval, and I have some comments. Forget a second.
Okay, as written?
That's written.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you know, when Mr. Freeman was reading off those names of those schools, John B. Dye, Mr. Freeman, you can stand up podium just in case I missed one. Thank you. John B. Dye, Kellum High School, Thorogood High School, Old Donation High School, or Thorogood Elementary. Thank you. Old Donation School as well. All of these schools, Mr. Mayor, are in more of our affluent parts of our communities throughout our city. When we talk about Bayside 6, we talk about Bayside High School, Betty F. Williams, with the exception of Princess Anne, but we talk about these schools. These schools are in one of our most vulnerable parts of our city. Just tonight, Mr. Mayor, we've honored Pastor Daniels from Edont Baptist Church, who served over 40 years in Western Bayside, trying to curb youth violence, supporting those families, supporting those communities. And the majority of the communities go to Bayside 6, Bayside High School, Betty F. Williams. Mr. Mayor. And so when we're talking about serving the most vulnerable parts of our community, my question would be, why should bureaucratic red tape get in the way of that? We have already approved this throughout the budget, and then it was deferred. Mr. Mayor, we have an opportunity, and paraphrase what Mr. Pastor Daniels said, we have an opportunity to do what's right and to do it now, to serve our community. As Mr. Freeman stated, this is a low risk, does not commit us to anything else, a long-term agreement. But what this does is ensures that we are telling our community, and our most vulnerable parts of our community, that we recognize that we have to act with a sense of urgency and making sure that their schools are at the forefront. Not that there are some second thought, Mr. Mayor and members of City Council. And so listening to Mr. Freeman, and also a huge part of this is avoiding potential cost overrun, because as we've learned throughout the DOME process, there could be millions of potential millions of dollars in cost overrun. As we know, the economy, whichever way this shapes up, cost is steady going up. And so with that, Mr. Mayor, I would urge City Council to approve of this PPEA agreement, something that we've already approved once before. So we won't delay this any longer. So our schools, our teachers, our students, our families, and the most vulnerable part of our city understand that we are supporting them and we have their back as well as those other schools I mentioned earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Wilson? Yes.
Mr. Freeman, we had a long discussion in the informal session, and out on the campaign trail, everybody's talking about expanding our vocational school opportunities, even to the point where maybe a new vocational building would be built. Has there been discussion about that over at the school side, and how would that possibility factor into the decision we're making today in terms of our debt capacity and our ability to do something like that?
We have a long-range master plan, that there was a process that went through that included multiple inputs from various leaders. And that long-range master plan was put in place in 2017, and that's the master plan that we're following for prioritization of which facilities get upgraded next. And that's where these fall. That is not anywhere, I don't know where that falls in the long-range master plan, but I know there are several high schools that follow Bayside High School in that long-range master plan.
So there really is no discussion or place right now for vocational school expansion or new building?
It's not in the long-range master plan. So we just had a conversation with your staff the other day. It makes sense to update long-range master plans on a regular basis. Traditionally, we've done that every 10 years or so. So that would put us on 2027 to have implemented a new long-range master plan. So I don't want to, I think you said that there's no plan for it. That would be the process that I would imagine that we would address if we wanted to change what the priority is that it would be addressed in the long-range master plan.
Ms. Wilson?
As Mr. Branch stated, we had a lot of discussion this afternoon. And so I'm going to call on the city manager, like I did this afternoon, for his recommendation of what we should do going forward.
Mr. Dehaney.
Mayor, to the Vice Mayor and other members of Council. Vice Mayor, as stated inside the informal session today, my recommendation would still be similar to the recommendation I provided in a memo we sent in early to mid-September, is that considering that there's still a whole lot of work that needs to happen before we move forward with any projects as it relates to using that additional capacity. For example, we gave Council a presentation on that with Davenport about the capacity, but also that capacity is contingent on Council actually moving the debt metrics. And before we move the debt metrics, we have to brief the rating agencies. And we mentioned that we would invite schools to be a part of that conversation as well, to get their concurrence that what we're recommending to this body is something that they think will ultimately be helpful towards the city from a rating standpoint, knowing that the rating agencies are changing some of their criteria for how they address and rate cities. Then we hope to come back to this council with that feedback from the rating agencies and then seek your approval to move the debt metrics. Should council endorse that idea and move in favor of moving the debt metrics, that's when we would be able to actualize that capacity. And at that time, I think it'll be appropriate for the council and the new school board and the new council to get a sense of what priorities they have for that capacity. And understanding that our current models show with the bond referendum that in some models we do trip our current metrics. I do think it makes sense and it's prudent to wait till we get to that point before council takes an action on here. However, this is council's decision to make.
Okay. Ms. Wilson, and then we'll get back to Mr.
Thank you,
Rouse.
Mr. Dehaney. And there were some other questions that we raised that we felt like we needed more information on. For example, we talked about doing Princeton High School and Betty F. Williams and maybe bundling those or trying to move the money to, I remember John Earn used to say, from the different buckets to get some other things built and to really look at our finances and see what we could have done. And so I also would like to know what the school's capacity is for making the debt service payments that we know that everybody has to make. So there was some, and the mayor recommended that we, in the meantime, we gather this information and this is a really big decision because it's, I know y'all see it as what yours is, but we really have a holistic path of all looking after the entire city, and schools are very important to us. You know, I started on the school board, I was a teacher, and Bayside High School was my alma mater. No one would like to have Bayside done any more than I would. But we do need to look at the entire picture, and I did talk to the staff of how long it would take and the retreat like the mayor suggested. So he thought that a deferral of 120 days would work, and we could get all that information. So I'd like to make a substitute motion that we defer it for 120 days.
Okay, Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. See, this is what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in our city who's listening. We have rhetoric. Rhetoric. Those who want to talk around the issue. This is low risk. There is no risk. All this does is design our schools and potentially saves us millions of dollars in cost overrun or avoidance. Our communities cannot wait. Bayside cannot wait. I wish Pastor Daniels was still here so he can come up in his own words and tell you, our communities can't wait. This is just an interim agreement to design these schools with low risk. There is no impact to the debt metrics. You see, you all are trying to conflate potential construction overruns with what we're doing now about a PPEA just for design. That's two separate conversations. That's two distinct things. A CIP and the costs, and that is another conversation. We're talking about a PPEA to design 3 schools, 4, in our most vulnerable parts of our city. And everyone says, yeah, we support schools. I support the schools. Well, it's time for us to start putting policies in place where our mouth is. Stop coming to communities, vulnerable communities, saying, yeah, I care about your community, I care about your school, but we're going to take another 120 days or another 6 months to look at redesigning this school. A school that's outdated, not modernized. And I think there's credible points to Mr. Branch's concern about vocational and VOTEC schools, because we understand what the workforce is in need. I think that's a credible point. But the understanding that in designing these schools, we aren't designing schools of yesterday. We're going to design the schools of tomorrow, taking in those factors. There will be a public input period. So again, this is something that this city, this body has already approved, but now we're saying we're going to wait on this. And so, again, there's a motion that's been seconded. I will ask that we now vote that down and let's take care of our school. This is low risk. We were in our discussion earlier in our informal city council meeting, and people were talking about, oh, there's an election coming up. This is a big decision. What does an election have to do with the fact we've taken care of our schools, our teachers, our students, our communities? Mind you, school board has already approved this way back in August 9th. We deferred it in September, something we approved in the budget. And now it's, well, we want to wait again to when? To after November 8th? So then you can say, well, we don't want to build these schools because we want to use our debt metrics to build some other project. You see, understand what this conversation is about. It's about using our debt to prioritize something other than what's in front of us. Our schools, that's it. But what this is a low risk, really no risk design to build schools that does not hold us to anything. That before a construction plan, a comprehensive plan, please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Freeman, before that is approved, it has to go back before school board and come back before this council before we get into an agreement of what that design would be. Is that correct? Did I?
That's correct. And additionally, the time frame that it lines up for entering into the interim agreement and the development of the draft comprehensive agreement lines up very well with being able to understand the work that's going on related to debt capacity, which would then be able to have the most well-informed recommendation for whether we should proceed forward with approving the comprehensive agreement or a recommendation against that.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. So obviously this body will do what it will. The people at home, there is an election coming up. You can make your own decision. But again, don't just keep falling for rhetoric when there's something that should be so simple and easy policy right in front of this body who would elect to kick it down the street. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion for a 120-day delay. Is there a second?
I did second it, yes.
Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, Ms. Wooten.
I don't have a discussion on that, but I do have some questions.
Could you turn your microphone on, please?
I don't have a discussion on that, but I wanted to ask a couple of questions before I vote. Mr. Duhaney, you were asked about recommendations that you gave City Council. The recommendations that you gave City Council, would entering into the interim agreement negatively impact those recommendations?
As Councilmember Wooten, it's hard to say. I think the concern that we express is that moving forward with the PPEA, it may lead to expectations set that may be hard to curtail and pull back. So it's hard to say if it'll have a material impact, but if it gets out in front of the, through public engagement, if the expectations get set and then ultimately it triggers our debt metrics and council may be unable to, it's just you set the expectations, and then if we trigger our debt metrics, council may be unable to approve the project, and then the expectation would already get set with the public. So basically what we're asking for is the ability to wait to see, are we going to be able to change our debt metrics once we get the feedback from the rating agencies, and then for council and the school board to determine what the priorities are for that debt capacity is going to be in the future.
So with entering into the interim agreement, I thought I heard you say that that would actually help us make some of those determinations in terms of understanding what's involved, addressing some of those concerns. It sounds like what you were saying would actually help us make that decision. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes, ma'am. So if you were to approve, and again, this vote is just to approve entering into the interim agreement, which the $15 million is already there. Once if that approval is given, then there's a process that does involve community input in the development of those 30% designs over the course of this time. That draft comprehensive agreement will include a guaranteed maximum price. So the pricing structure is part of the development of the draft comprehensive agreement. While the work is going on, understanding what the debt metrics relate to the city, What we envision is that work is also done with basically the bar graphs that you saw earlier or last week. You add on top of that, here's what it means, and see where it falls. It might fall above, which would not be good. It might fall below. There may be a range where city council says, hey, we don't want to go any further than this, although we know where this is the limit. But that would enable a true understanding of here's what the impact would be as it relates to the debt metrics.
Thank you. It sounds like we're trying to do the same things here. We're not trying to put the city in any negative or detrimental position. In fact, what I'm hearing is that the interim agreement will help bring forward the necessary details we need to make an informed decision. And I think that's what we all want. And in terms of an election, new folks coming in, they'll have the opportunity to weigh in on that situation when it's their time. But I think we understand the money, the funding's in the budget, it's already approved. Delaying something 120 days, not sure. And where did that come from? Why are we doing 120 days? What is that going to change? Where did that number come from? Who made that decision?
Yeah.
Nobody? Anybody? Somebody?
I'll respond to you.
I'm asking anybody.
The mayor recommended that we have a retreat early in January, and that would give us time to discuss it at the retreat.
Okay, so delaying it 120 days to discuss it at a retreat. Just speaking from experience, we really don't get a lot done in retreats. I'd hate to delay something another 120 days for a retreat where we typically don't get a lot done during that time, just because we don't want to move forward with this agreement. Entering into this agreement, it doesn't sound like from the facts that I hear, is going to put, again, the city in a detrimental position where it, in fact, is going to help us make an informed decision. It is actually potentially can save the taxpayers money. That's a huge plus. That's something that as a taxpayer, I would certainly want us to be responsible to do. So I hope we do the right thing. It's sad and unfortunate that you have to bring up that these schools are in underserved communities or in minority communities. But I mean, it is a fact. But we really do need to do the right thing here. I don't see the reason why we have to delay it. I think we can do both. We can move forward with the agreement. We can do our due diligence. We are capable of doing both at the same time. And I think that's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rouse.
Last thing, Mr. Mayor, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but Mr. City Manager, speaking on this PPEA, does it have detrimental harm to our city?
Does it have detrimental harm to our city?
Yes, as it stands right now, how does it affect our city, this agreement? Does it affect our debt metrics? As it stands right now, not looking at construction costs or any potential other things, just as this piece of paper, this interim agreement states.
So just to clarify, Councilmember Rouse, you're asking at this specific interim agreement singularly, would this impact, like signing it and executing it, would this impact the city materially?
Would it affect us today?
Would it,
okay, well, let me clarify it. This agreement is with $15.4 million. Has it been budgeted?
To my understanding, the $15 million is available through other projects that they can pay for this.
And it's been approved. Did we originally approve this in our budget?
They approved it, yes, it's approved.
Well, I would like for Kevin to come up.
Okay.
Hey,
Mayor,
welcome.
Vice Mayor, members of council. Councilmember Rouse, correct. There's appropriations within the existing CIP that the school board or the schools could use to expend the $15 million within the scope of those projects. The current PPEA and the bundling of those for a combined design build for all three schools, that's the item that's being, as you know, being discussed this evening as to move forward. So the 15 million is in fact appropriated and can be expended. If I may go one step further, if
Yes, you go ahead.
so
I want you to provide as much clarity on this as possible because it's just good business. I mean,
Absolutely.
It has potential to save our taxpayers millions of dollars.
I'm certainly not getting in the way of council's decision. In speaking with school staff, one of the other things that we're looking to do in the upcoming budget process is also get an understanding of what the long-term impact is on the operating budget from this as well. So that's one of the things I'll be working with schools on. We were also looking to get a sense of is, for example, rough quick math, an additional $100 million to accelerate, it's roughly about $10 million a year in annual debt service costs that schools would need to be able to sustainably fund within their operations. So I think what we're trying to look through the upcoming budget process is what impact does that have? Is there a negative impact? Does it squeeze something else out? So we're trying to be mindful of the overall impact of this, not only on the debt metrics, but the overall operating budget as well.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I think one important last thing to note is that by time and comprehensive agreement will have come back before this council, it may be a completely different council, completely different school board. But that being said, an interim agreement, again, is just designing 4 schools in our most vulnerable communities. And I think people should pay attention to that. Should definitely pay attention to that. Don't just keep falling for, they come to communities and want to serve food or show up at cookouts or even your church. Don't keep falling for that. Hold us accountable. That includes me. Hold this body accountable. So when you have an opportunity to do the right thing for your community, you do it. This is not hard. This is not hard. And so, again, there's a motion on the table, so I'll wait for the vote. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we have a substitute motion. Ms. Wilson?
So would Ms. Pate come and answer a question? Thank you. Thanks for being here tonight. So last time when this was presented to us, I asked the question about the debt service and how much it would be, and have y'all figured that into how you're going to cover it? And I really didn't get an answer on that. So, and Mr. Chanticleer just said it was going to be about $10 million a year, and I guess that's probably a 20-year, usually it's a 20-year time. So with the revenue sharing formula, have y'all figured out how you're going to pay that additional, because I know you have to write debt service checks first before anything else gets paid, how you can pay that new $10 million without additional funding coming from the council every year for 20-some years?
We have not worked through all those details because this is the interim agreement, and we have not had the final comprehensive agreement where, and Mr. Freeman will speak more, the negotiations are between a couple of vendors still for that final comprehensive agreement. So those numbers are not final. So what was presented and what Mr. Chatelier said was that is what is the ratio of the debt service. So we're not looking at those kinds of numbers right now. So at this point, honestly.
Okay.
So until those negotiations start and we begin and we can look at those costs, then we certainly will be coming before both bodies with that information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion on the table.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to make a 120-day delay the primary motion. Is that correct? Yeah, we have a motion in a second.
I'm
Yes.
not trying to delay, but could I hear his clarification? He did want to clarify. I'd like to hear it.
Okay, please come forward.
And just to emphasize what Ms. Pate was sharing, is that's the whole point of the draft comprehensive agreement, is that's when you have all of the information related to costs so that you can then do all of the calculations that Ms. Wilson, that you asked for. And that's why it's not available now. That's what the comprehensive agreement allows.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. So there's no harm done in entering in this agreement. Again, we're gaining the needed information that some folks are saying is a problem. They can't make a decision. There is an issue. We get that information when you enter into the interim agreement. That's the start of the process. Let's start the process.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the motion is for, to make the 120-day delay, the primary motion. Okay, vote is open.
Councilmember Rouse, may I have your vote, please? By a vote of 6-3, this motion will now become 5-3. 5-3.
Okay, we have two
Sorry.
abstentions?
With 2 abstentions, yes. This
Yes,
motion then will now become the main motion. Correct, Mark?
Correct.
It doesn't need
Okay,
to be.
Ms. Mesner, you're out of order.
Do I have the floor, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to explain my abstention. While I was able to participate in the informal session because it was part of the holistic issue of the city's bond capacity, this is a singular issue dealing exclusively with the schools as a singular vote, and per an official opinion from the local Commonwealth attorney, I am precluded from voting on a singular issue for a singular agency, which the school board is, because my wife is a school teacher. And this explanation will go with the next vote as well, if that is permissible. I won't restate it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We had another abstention. Ms. Myers?
Since I was on the consultant team, though I've resigned from that while I'm on council, just to avoid a conflict of interest, I abstained.
Okay, now we have a primary motion for the 120-day delay.
And Mayor, just to clarify, 120 days, the closest date for that is February 21st, 2023. So if we can go ahead and defer to a date certain, it may be a little
Okay, if you can put
cleaner
that
for the
as a
record.
date certain.
Okay,
Okay?
Is there a discussion?
Rouse?
Is there a discussion, Mr. Mayor?
Pardon?
Is there a discussion before the vote?
Pardon?
Is there a discussion before the vote?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We go wherever the majority of this body wants us to go, and definitely understand where this is headed. But to say the least, I am disappointed because this is just so simple. It wasn't hard. We're not going to solve the debt metrics tonight or next month or even before next year. And so, and I'm kind of bewildered, but it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, I've seen great festivals come to the city and bring millions of dollars to the city, and the city looks like, well, we don't want it. So it's not the first time I've been in this state of this predicament. But I just thought, at least when it came to our schools and our most vulnerable schools, that we would act with a sense of urgency and sending a signal to those communities that we care about you all, we are prioritizing you all, and when the debt metrics come back around, we're not going to have you compete against other interests in the city. And so, again, I think you will find as well in our presentation on the debt metrics that we were able to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, but we were able to, if we modernize our debt metrics and policies, we were able to expand the capacity of our debt metrics by over $250 million. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. And so entering into an interim agreement for $15 million that's already been budgeted and approved, it just says something, man. it says a lot. It sends a signal a lot. But again, that's for the people to decide. We have an election coming up, and yeah, and that's that. So Bayside, Betty F. Williams, Princess Anne, Bayside 6. Just know that there are council members who are fighting for you, who do understand the sense of urgency. We must act, but again, this is a majority wins type of city council, and it's up to you all to vote your interest to make sure your communities aren't last on the list or last heard, but such as. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to.
Anybody else? Rosemary?
So this time also is going to give our staff the time to get a lot of those unanswered questions that we had. Like we talked about bundling Princess Anne and Betty F. Williams to get those built quickly, because there's a lot of, money that's already in the queue for those. And then also we've got some financial policies that we need to line up, and we need to make decisions and changes with our financial policies. And also to get the holistic view of all the needs that we're going to have. And hopefully, I keep asking for the schools to tell us how much money is going to be on their debt service and how they're going to pay for it. I'd really like to have that information as well. I know every single person up here wants to see these schools done. And because I sit on the school modernization committee, and it's like, when are we going to get these things done? When are we going to get these done? And they have a fantastic partner with Mr. Ballard, who's able to get it done. He's amazing with the power that he has to deliver. So I think he makes just a fantastic partner. But we have to be fiscally responsible to our citizens. This I know it sounds like a simple decision, but it's really not. It's a big decision that's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that we need to make sure. I mean, even the bond referendum, we went to the citizens to ask them if they wanted to come up with that extra money. We asked them first. And I'm not saying we need to do a bond referendum here, but I'm saying that's just part of how this council has been fiscally responsible. So anyway, this will give us that time to do that.
Yeah, Mr. Rouse.
Thank you. I believe Mr. Ballard is here if he wanted to come up and share his insight.
No, we're in voting.
Yeah, okay. We're but the mayor called the man out by his name. He's here. He's part of this contract. He can add pertinent discussion to this. But I understand, Mr. Mayor. The thing is this: the Vice Mayor just said fiscally responsible. Fiscally responsible thing would to do with enter into an interim agreement that saves the taxpayers potential costs down the line. Y'all keep conflating the issue of construction and CIP schedules to an interim agreement. This agreement of $15.4 million was already budgeted and approved. And before we get into a construction or a master plan, it has to come back before the school board and before the city council. In return, the city council will understand their debt metrics so they can have a better understanding of what that would look like before putting shovels in the ground. So that excuse you just said, that was just full of hot air. It doesn't hold weight. You just say, you guys just want to delay it, and that's fine. You want to delay it, but don't tell the people fiscal responsibility where you're talking about $15 million already been budgeted and approved. It's just for design. We're talking about design. And again, before construction actually takes place, an agreement has to come back before this body, which by then we'll have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Manager, but by then we'll have a better understanding of our debt capacity in 120 days. So, it's just, again, just be transparent with the people. It's not about fiscal. Don't conflate the two issues. That this was probably the most fiscal responsible we could be with approving an interim agreement.
Okay, we have the vote open. Ms. Wilson.
The vote is open, sir.
I'd just like to make another statement, because make no mistake about it, making a decision to delay entering into this interim agreement is not in line with being fiscally responsible. Voting for something like this actually, and moving forward, would actually help us in that process. And I do think it's unfortunate to try to show that you're doing this to be fiscally responsible. No, that's not it. That's not what I heard. We do want to do the right thing. And, you know, in terms of having this conversation, this is one I can have all day, because I've seen and heard conversations that have taken longer for less. This is education. It's focused on public schools. This is important for our children and generations to come. This is important. So an important discussion. And if I had more questions to sit here and ask, I would. That's the least I can do to really go through the intricacies of this issue and ensure that I did my due diligence when it comes to this issue. So, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, vote is open.
Go ahead and close it. By a vote of 5-3, this item has been deferred to February the 21st, 2023.
Mr. Stiles, do we still need the abstentions to explain the vote? No, sir, they're on record. Okay. Okay, thank you all for the discussion. Okay, moving on to item 7, ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement between the city and individual property owners, permitting use of city-owned Lynn Haven transfer facility, private dredging projects.
The first speaker is Barbara Messner. And after Ms. Messner will be Todd Solomon.
Hi, Ms. Wilson. Okay. I hope y'all remember the people who are running that there's a Hatch Act and you should not be taking up 20, 30 minutes, the people who are running, grandstanding on TV. When people
Okay, Ms. Messner, I will admonish you again, stick to the item
Then
at
talk
hand.
faster so you don't use my time. Thank you. It's my free speech, not yours. Okay, 7. Which y'all changed because I watched the Informal. Authorize the city manager, who's paid, what, $350,000 that you hire to do what you want, and the city attorneys who give you their opinions. And Colin Stolley, who has a conflict, has only given opinions to John Moss and Will Sessoms. That's one reason Will Sessoms left. So agreement between the city and individual property owners permitting city-owned Lynn Haven transfer facility private dredging projects. You haven't taken care of the infrastructure. You are overbuilding. We have uncontrolled growth. You're not fiscally responsible. And this will go on indefinitely. And the stupid bond referendum that certain people, that you spent air money advertising for something you wanted, more debt. You destroyed the city, you should pay for it out of your pockets. And the tree canopies, oh my gosh, what a joke. Tree canopies, you destroy all the trees. We need live oak trees everywhere. You don't start planting stuff after the fact, and you don't raise roads above floodwaters. Anyway, like I said, I've been doing this for 23 years, and the dog and pony show gets longer and longer, and it's really an insult. Because people may not show up, but they do pay attention. Thank you.
The next speaker is Todd Solomon. After Mr. Solomon is Maynard West.
Hey, Todd, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. All right. Good evening, Mayor Dyer, council members, City Manager Haney. My name's Todd Solomon. I'm a 30-year resident of Cape Story by the Sea and a 22-year member of Shore Drive Community Coalition. And I come here to support the wording of this ordinance and use agreement. I wanted to actually come down and do a couple shout-out thank yous to everybody. I wanted to thank you first for including civic engagement as part of this process. I know that's the drum that we as SDCC have continued to beat. Sometimes you listen to us, sometimes you don't. This time you did, and we thank you tremendously for including us. With the possible accelerated need for this site to support the neighborhood dredging program, I was fearful at the beginning that the local community's concerns would be overlooked as part of this process. The high use of this site, I know you all know it as a recreational site, boat site, overlapping it with dredge transfer, dump trucks, and industrial type use. Our safety was a major concern. So I'm really thankful to Council Members Moss and Council Member Miles and City Manager DeHaney for taking the effort to step back and slow this process down, invite the community representatives, staff, and everybody else to a working meeting to take the time to go over this, to include the citizens, the neighbors' issues, the community issues they may have, but also to include what you had done in the Beaches and Waterways report as all of this, to actually start to include those. I believe it's a 12-year document or 10 years ago that was done. So it was nice to see it, take a step back, research that, and add that into this. I also wanted to say thank you to Jonathan Torres, I'm not sure, I don't think he's here, but also Kay Wilson for their efforts in listening to us, being very amendable to working back and forth. So it was a great pleasure. So again, thank you all. And hopefully you'll remember to include civic engagement as in these types of projects in the future. And if not, we'll be up here beating the drum again, reminding you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Maynard West. After Mr. West will be John Wright.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I've heard a lot of things about this project. I've been living in Broad Bay Point Grange for 30 years now, and I was one of the first ones to go before the council and everybody else to get the dredging permits originally for us to do the dredging around our docks. What's happened right now is the area around the docks for the primary cove has silted in, and it makes it inconvenient to be able to get our boats out, even canoes or kayaks. The material that is to be dredged is needed because not only in Dyer Cove, but around it where our other three docks are. If that peninsula there continues to close up, then what will happen is Dyer Cove will become more of a lake, and the area where my docks are will not be accessible to deep water. So I think we need to really think real closely about doing the dredging and to prevent this area from closing up. I think the city council needs to consider this too. If Dyer Cove closes up and the area where my cove is, if those close up, then they're going to make lakes out of those, or rivers, or I guess lakes, and that in turn will cause the waterfront property to be, instead of being waterfront property, it will be, the city will lose the revenue that will come from the lots that are on that the piece of property. Thank you.
Next speaker is John Wright, and then after him will be Steve Ballard.
Good evening.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Thanks for letting me speak. My name's John Wright. I live at 1668 Dye Cove. I'm a neighbor of the gentleman that just spoke, along with me and 24 other neighbors that use the cove quite a bit to navigate out to Broad Bay. I've been at the residence for 4 years, and in the last 2.5 years, you can gradually see where we exit the cove starting to shoal in. I can only get out with my small fishing boat at high tide, and I still scrape the bottom. So that gives me about 2.5 hours, 3 hours to play to get back to make sure I can get back in. So I kind of echo it with what Mr. West said. It's a privately funded dredging project. We're not burdening the taxpayers. Unlike, people of Crab Creek, I'm assuming if Crab Creek silts in, they get a publicly funded dredging project. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but that's what I've been told. Ours is privately funded. I believe that Crab Creek Transfer Station was intended for transfer originally, if I'm not mistaken, for off-site silt removal. So I don't think that we're asking for anything out of the ordinary, and I'd like to get y'all's support on the project. Thank you.
Next speaker is Steve Ballard, and then it'll be Robert Browerman.
Good evening. How you doing?
Odd that it came up on tonight, but yes, it is a privately funded project, and the use of Crab Creek will be a tremendous benefit to the neighbors in there. There's 28 of us in there, 17 of us agreed to pay for it, and this will be a lot better for the environment and everything else. A lot less hauling, a lot less trucking, and I think it's a good move. And I think the public awareness has been really good. The city staff's done a great job educating the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a bunch. Good seeing you.
Robert Browerman, and then the last speaker will be Jody Cangretti.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me a moment to speak. I don't have much to add in addition to what my neighbors have said, just maybe to reemphasize a few points. There are 28 waterfront homes there, all of which were deep waterfront and are quickly becoming tidal waterfront based on the closure of the inlet there. This is purely privately funded. 17 of us have agreed to split the cost to be able to open up the access to everyone. The transfer station, we believe, is a fair request, will result in a whole lot less movement on the waterways, a whole lot less fuel being used, and therefore exhaust going into the environment, and represents a far better solution both for the homeowners and, we believe, the city. So just here to ask for approval of this project to allow the homeowners to spend their own money to be able to protect the waterfront status of their homes. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch. Appreciate it.
Jody Tangredi, and then Jonathan Dozier.
Welcome.
Good evening. I'll also make this fairly brief, but I am also up here seeking your approval for this property, for this private dredging request. We also, my husband and I also live on this site. And as the area has closed off, we have a view of the tidal coming and going. It is really impacting the environment. Dredging is not great for the environment, but also seeing it closing up. We have bald eagles living there, we have herons, we have egrets, obviously fish, etc. And as the area starts to close in, all of that is going to probably die. So, and the marsh that we have there will also cease to thrive the way it is. Plus, of course, there's the access to getting in and out that's getting encroached upon very badly. So it would be wonderful to have your approval for this private dredging. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The next speaker is Jonathan Dozier. Jonathan Dozier. Bob Simon.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Dyer, members of the City Council. I'm Robert Simon, Bob Simon, Waterfront Consulting, and I had the honor of representing these people, putting the application together for them to dredge this area. But beyond this project here, I'd like to say how much I'm in favor of opening up Crab Creek, because I have many other clients, potential clients, that cannot dredge because there's no place to transfer the materials once the dredging occurs. The only transfer site that's available that the city operates right now is Thalia. And that Thalia transfer station is all the way at the end of the western branch of the Lynnhaven by Princess Anne High School. And to get the materials there is a long process, adds about 30% to the cost of a dredge project. So opening up Crab Creek to dredging projects at the conjunction of basically Long Creek, the Broad Bay watershed, the Lynnhaven watershed, eastern branch of the Lynnhaven, this is really an important step for the city to support its waterfront property owners. The areas, the rivers are silting in, they need to be dredged. The city realizes this with their SSD program, which we're part of. So this is really a good move for the city to do. I hope the city council will approve it.
Hey, thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, do we have a motion? Okay, Mr. Branch.
First off, I want to commend all the property owners for stepping up to the plate, and it's a pleasure for the city to cooperate. I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay.
The vote is open.
Oh, my apologies, Ms. Miles. I understand that was your district.
I forgive you. Move for approval.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
I thought
bad.
it was Longwoods, I'm sorry.
Any discussion? Yes.
First of all, I just want to recognize the president of the Ocean Park Civic League as well, Mr. Murphy, as well as Todd. Their participation was important, but really the silent partner in all this that made it all happen, though he's sitting in the back, is L.J. Hansen, Director of Public Works, because in reality, there's the people that had to find the solution that made everybody happy. And I just wanted to make sure that the city manager knew, because Mr. Hansen was at those meetings with Councilmember Miles and myself, and he's really the one that finds the solution that gets to the happy spot. So I appreciate that, Mr. Hansen.
Okay, anybody else?
Miss, thank you. By a vote of 10-0, you've approved the ordinance.
Thank you, and I apologize again, Ms. Miles. I am still district impaired, so thank you.
That's okay, you owe me lunch.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to move on to some planning items, and I guess the first one's going to be Build Senior Living LLC, a Michigan limited liability company. Keith Seltzer, Cheryl Seltzer, Melvin Belinda Seltzer, Hester, JSW Holdings LLC, for a conditional change of zoning from AG1 to AG2 agricultural districts to conditionals 01 office district and conditional use permit for a housing for seniors and disabled for properties on the north side of the intersection of Princess Anne Road and Tournament Drive, west of 2708 Princess Anne Road, District 2, formerly 7 Princess Anne.
The first speaker is Rob Beeman. After Mr. Beeman is Mary Ann Carlin.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, members of council. For the record, my name is Rob Beeman, a local land use attorney at the Troutman Pepper Law Firm, here today on behalf of the applicant, Build Senior Living LLC. This application involves an 11-acre parcel that's located just across Princess Anne Road from the Virginia Beach National Golf Course. That's currently vacant and currently zoned AG1 and AG2. The applicant proposes to rezone the property to O1 and with also a conditional use permit to accommodate an approximate 88-unit assisted living facility with memory care uses as well. The applicant believes the property is particularly well suited for an assisted living facility, given the proximity to the Centera Hospital and a couple of shopping centers nearby, but also the Civic Center with the Treasurer's Office and the Post Office and so forth. Additionally, the applicant believes this use is compatible with surrounding land uses, which are primarily residential, as it will have very low impact in terms of noise or traffic or light. I do want to mention that the adjacent property owner to the north has requested that my client consider moving the access on Princess Anne Road up to the shared property boundary so that it's a joint access. We're amenable to that and certainly intend to work with the city during the site plan review process to see if that is feasible. And for that reason, we've requested a small tweak to one of the conditions, which I believe was passed out to the council earlier, that would give staff the flexibility to approve the alternative access point. And with that, I certainly appreciate your time and consideration. We'll stand by for questions.
Any questions? Ms. Henley?
Yes, Mr. Beeman. I do have that addition here. And of course, the reason is I think this is preferable to what you were going to do because Princess Anne Road is a controlled access highway.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're supposed to minimize the number of entrances. And of course, the ultimate is that there would be a public roadway coming in from London Bridge Road, but that's not in the immediate future. So this would just serve until that does occur. But this language just adds that or as approved by Public Works Traffic Engineering during the site plan review process.
Yes, ma'am.
To the phrase that would allow you to have another, or would allow you to be combined. So that's suitable to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anybody else?
Were there other speakers?
We do have other speakers, yes. The next speaker is Mary Ann Garland. After Ms. Garland will be Barbara Messner.
Good evening.
My name is Mary Ann Garland, and I'm here with some of my friends from the street, Sandy Basilovac and Diane Antoine and Don Lee over here. And we're longtime residents of Cantwell Road in the Courthouse Farms neighborhood. I'm a former elementary school teacher at Christopher Farms right in the neighborhood. And as many of you all came to Virginia Beach because of the U.S. Navy. My first concern is that the homeowner closest to the site was signed up and scheduled to speak remotely at the August 14 zoning meeting. She just had a baby. And due to technical difficulties on the zoning side of the technology, not hers, she could not Zoom in. Her voice was not heard, and yet the zoning was passed anyway, if I'm using the right verbiage. My next concern, and it's actually a two-part question. If and when the construction begins, supposedly during the summer and fall of '23, when is the predicted completion date? Will there be a construction entrance on PA Road? And if there is that entrance to service all the construction vehicles and workers, upon completion, will that be the entrance to be used for employees and staff, deliveries, trash, et cetera, emergency vehicles, including fire department, visitors, and possibly some live-in residents who can still drive? According to my friends who have read the report on the vb.gov, which I have not, but they have, it mentions the possibility of our street, Cantwell Road, which we've lived on for a long time, being cut through at some point in time behind the senior living center. And this will directly affect us, including the property value of our homes, of course. Is a cut through of Cantwell Road related to this senior living project? And I know this isn't the forum to get the direct answers to these questions, but we would like to request a meeting with Barbara, you in the near future to get the answers to these questions.
Right. Perhaps Mr. Tahan, did you see anything that you want to you would be able to comment on tonight, or do we need to set up a meeting?
I think, Ms. Henley, what you had said previously was the answer to this. London Bridge Road extended, as well as Cantwell Road, are in the master transportation plan to be extended at some point in time. They're not currently funded. That was a plan for the future. If there's any plan for Public Works to move forward with that, they would do significant public engagement to discuss that, but it is currently in the master transportation plan.
Right, but for the interim, for construction, perhaps we'll just set up a meeting for you so that you can talk with the applicant and we can deal with the immediate issues, because that is a long time in the future. I think Mr. Moss had a...
Yeah.
I wanted to follow up, if I could. To be clear, so in the construction at this site, the developer of the site would not be permitted to have even a temporary access from the rear of their property to their street, which is different from a long-term road. There wouldn't be any temporary access granted, correct?
Correct, that's right, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure that she knew, because she really had two questions in one. One is, what's the long-range plan? That's been out there. I just want to make sure in the short run, there wasn't a temporary access being granted where all these construction trucks will be going in our neighborhood. But that's not the case. Thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you.
The next speaker is Barbara Messner, and after Ms. Messner is Randy Bell.
Okay. Y'all are in a hurry for all these senior buildings. Seniors used to be 55 and up. Somehow it got changed to 62 and up. But it uses HUD money, federal HUD money. And this is changing from AG1 and AG2, agricultural, to office district and housing for seniors and disabled. It sounds very similar to Vanguard Landing, which you gave a loan of $2.8 million and they never built anything, and now they're coming back in another format. But the fact that, when WebEx doesn't work and people are signed up to speak, there's no excuse. Y'all had a chance to go to Zoom or something else. So, yeah, in the city buildings, most of the city buildings and a lot of these things that you approve are not ADA compliant. So it says formerly District 7, District 3. Sometimes y'all put it as one thing and then another thing. I mean, this whole district changes is ridiculous. And I saw Ms. Henley's ad saying her heart is still with one district while she wants you to vote for her in another. It would be great if you didn't vote on the money for everything else, if you could only vote in your district. This whole thing is a mess. And I'm tired of all the change in zoning and the misuse of HUD money. Summer House is mixed use, HUD money. Thank you.
The next speaker is Randy Bell.
Hey, good afternoon. It just seems that way. How you doing today? Thank
Great,
you.
man. Something far to you there. I know you're a good Marine.
Oh, thank
I
you.
remind you
Ditto.
of that. I mean, I didn't have to, but I will. Okay, I'm here. I just found out about this situation this afternoon. So I can't really say, I guess it was something that wasn't really presented to the community as far as I know. I just got a call this evening, but I do want to speak about this matter here, and I made a few notes here. But the big issue, though, is our location here. Our location is right down the street from the courthouse with a lot of traffic. The way we enter our street is through, say, off of Princess Anne, and we have a back way to go out through the school back there. However, the main street we're talking about is about 18 houses, I believe. And the main street, Cantwell Road, is right at the entrance, and it goes down to a dead end. And at the dead end, that is the area they're talking about in terms of expanding. We have a lot of traffic through there, street right there. Just before here, like I live on the corner of Cantwell, and at that location, there's a lot of traffic going out through the school. Before, when Kellum was there was a shortcut in the mornings. You couldn't get out of your street because of the kids going through and speeding and traffic not stopping at the intersection. We even had a police that was down there on the mornings. So there's a little history of how the street and all, say, is arranged. Now, what we have here is a lot of traffic that does come out of there. We requested twice for a traffic light at that location because of all the traffic, but that was denied. Now we're talking about adding a lot of other traffic through there. As I said, it's a dead-end street, increased traffic. With all the traffic, it's the exit of the subdivision. So if we have the potential to have a lot more traffic that's coming through there, I would strongly advise that we deny any requests for zoning that would require that. One, it would destroy our quality of life with potential of traffic, as has been stated, coming through there, say 24 hours, medical personnel, visitors. Now we have the potential of the construction trucks and so forth coming through, destroying our roads over there. And so it makes a bad situation. I had thought about perhaps the recommended solution would be arrange an entrance and exit from Princess Anne Road. I hear that may not be something that would be feasible, but in all word here, I want to end here that you all take a good look at.
Thank you very much, sir.
Not doing it.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Beaman, would you like to come back for rebuttal?
Sure. Thank you very much. I just wanted to clarify a couple things regarding access. Our access would be off Princess Anne Road, and currently there is no right-of-way along the rear of the property, so there would be no construction access or permanent access, either one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Henley.
Okay, I do want to make several comments about several things. Thank you, Mr. Beaman. I think you've taken care of it. This access would be from Princess Anne, and there is no access through the community. And, we will set up a meeting and go through all of that. It's kind of unexpected that at this point, we find out we have these questions. I didn't think there were any, hadn't heard any until tonight, but I did have some concerns, and I wanted to address all of that. And I think in talking about these things, maybe the community will understand just how much attention we have given to this whole area through a number of years before you were probably there, and that's with this Princess Anne corridor study, which pretty much sets down the requirements for this area because of another issue. And that is the fact that this is so much related to Oceana. And it's coincidental that we had the captain here tonight and recalling the Good Friday miracle and the comments about how important it is that we totally cooperate with Oceana. And this particular area that is so important because it's the flyway between Oceana and Fentress. And of course, the neighborhoods like Christopher Farms that were there before BRAC, the important thing not only is making certain that whatever happens in this area protects Oceana, but also doesn't adversely impact the neighborhoods. And so this is a great concern that we have. And so there are very, very specific things that are set down in our ordinances to do both of those things, to make sure that the stable neighborhoods are protected and that we don't bring in uses that are in conflict with the stable neighborhoods, but also are protective of Oceana. Of course, Princess Anne Road at this place is the green line, and we have another very important area, which is the ACUS area. And the ACUS that affects this particular property north of Princess Anne there is known as Subarea 2. And very specifically, anytime anything is to be done in this area, it says that the density must be similar to surrounding property and conform to the comprehensive plan, including area plans and guidelines. And so this development had to look at whether or not it was in compliance, or it is in compliance with the ACUS, Article 18, Special Regulations and Air Installations compatible with ACUS, and had to have a meeting with the Joint Review Process Group set up by the Navy and the city staff to look at these things, which they did. But in reading this report, it's very fine, very small writing, and so but I took particular interest in this one because this isn't single family. This is an assisted living facility, and how would this be related or approved by Oceana? Because it's different. It's not dwelling units. But in looking at this, I came across this very important statement that says that in this joint review process, and maybe I didn't understand this well enough before, the Navy is only in that meeting to provide technical advice on matters such as the U.S. Navy ACUS instruction, from which Article 18 is derived, and questions pertaining to the naval air operations. And then it says, all conclusions and opinions with respect to the application's adherence to its requirements of Article 18 are solely those of the City of Virginia Beach staff. And I always thought that it meant that the Navy had kind of agreed with it, but what we're finding out is it's really our responsibility to make sure that we don't do anything in these areas that are going to be an infringement on the ability of Oceana to continue to operate as it should in its flyway between Oceana and Fentress. But how do you deal with an assisted living facility in this area? And I think the way they went about this is quite interesting. But you also notice, and this is very important, and the neighbors need to understand this too, because it's important for you as to what can go in these vacant places that are still along the front of the road, which we were concerned about when we did this study. But it tells us that for property within Subarea 2 of the 65 to 70 decibel noise zone, discretionary development applications for residential uses may be approved only if the City Council finds that the proposed development, 1, is at a density similar to or lower than that of surrounding properties having a similar use and no greater than recommended by the comprehensive plan. So it can't have a density any greater than that which is already there. And 2, it has to conform to the applicable provisions of the comprehensive plan, including without limitation, the Princess Anne Corridor Study, the Princess Anne Commons Design Guidelines, or Mixed-Use Development Guidelines. And so that's a lot said for what has to be reviewed for anything that goes in this area. And this application did go through that process. And the way they addressed this was in looking at the fact that this is an assisted living, so it's sort of residential for seniors, but they don't have regular bedrooms. There's no kitchen and so forth. Each one just has a bedroom. So what they did was that they looked at this as a facility with 88 beds and compared it to the zoning that would be allowed if these were single-family residents. And so this 10.8 acres with the varying density around it of about 2.66 units per acre. If my multiplication is right, that would come out to, with 10 acres, 28.94 units. And if each of those houses had 3 bedrooms, it would be 86.82 beds. Well, this is 88 beds. And so what they determined was that this density, even though it's not dwelling units, does come up to about the same density of the surrounding neighborhoods. And so that's how, I think, if I've calculated this right, and Carolyn said, yes, this might be your last chance to do that, right? They have determined that this does meet this requirement. And I think this is extremely important because we have to be able to say to the next BRAC, and I can't think that we would do anything to cause another BRAC to question what we're doing, that we are diligently looking at these requirements. And it clearly says in the corridor study that air installation compatible use zone, that new development or redevelopment should not include any housing, hotel, or other uses that may be deemed by the city to be incompatible within applicable noise zones. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that this occurs properly. And I think it's an important responsibility that we have at the City Council. It's very plain, it's not the Navy's. It's ours to make sure that we are very careful as we review these uses. And so I was skeptical about an assisted living facility here because it is on the side of the road. The other side of Princess Anne Road couldn't have that because it says no residential at all on the other side of Princess Anne Road. That's in the ITA. But since this was already existing, they did allow it, provided that it is completely compatible and in the same density as that which is already there. And so I say this to explain to the neighbors, and of course the church is on the other side of this, so it's a sort of the same kind of low use and so forth, and that's the reasoning behind this. And it was my skepticism when I looked at assisted living and thought, I'm not so sure that is appropriate. But looking at all of the work that's been done and recognizing that the Planning Commission recommended approval and the staff and so forth, my motion will be to approve it. And we will set up a meeting with the community to make sure that construction isn't going to be a problem for you.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion? Vote is open.
Mr. Mayor, I hate to interrupt.
But
Ms. Henley, I think you meant to make your motion regarding the amended condition as well?
yes, including the language as I read earlier. Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
By a vote of 10-0, you've approved the application as amended.
Okay, the final item of the night is number 5, Mike Dalbert, Back Bay Farms, Inc., for conditional use at reassembly use at 1833 Princess Anne Road, District 2.
Eddie Burdon for the applicant.
Hey, Eddie.
Good evening, Mayor Dyer, Vice Mayor Wilson, honorable members of City Council. For the record, my name is Eddie Burdon. I'm a Virginia Beach attorney, and it's my privilege to come before this council this evening representing Mike and Megan Dalbert on their conditional use permit application for an assembly use that will be a wedding venue and an event venue on 3 acres of a larger 60-plus acre parcel at the northwest corner of Princess Anne and Indian River Roads in the transition area at downtown Pungo. This conditional use application is on agriculturally zoned property, and it is not a request to rezone the property. This application comes to you tonight with a recommendation for approval with 13 recommended conditions from your professional city staff and management, and a unanimous recommendation for approval from your Planning Commission. It also has a unanimous recommendation in favor from your Agricultural Advisory Commission and a favorable recommendation from your Transition Area ITA Advisory Committee. And to our knowledge, the application has no opposition whatsoever from any businesses or residents in the Pungo Village or its surrounding areas. That is a testament to the vision, the diligence, and the dedication of Mike and Megan Daubert, who are here this evening along with some of their friends and supporters. This has been their labor of love. They have handled this application from the beginning on their own. All 13 conditions recommended to you have been and continue to be acceptable, approved by Mike and Megan. As I said, this is a labor of love for them, and if you want to hear more detail, they can do a better job of that than I can on the intricacies of the development. I'm here, and so is Mike Daubert, to answer any questions that any of you may have. And if you want to hear more about the application beyond what's already before you in your write-up, Mike can come forward and provide you additional information. If you have any questions, we
Any
can answer.
questions,
Happy to try to
John?
do that.
Just ask the people that came in support.
Oh, yeah, would
Mike.
all those that are here,
If you ask the people in support,
to
if they
stand,
would just
please.
stand so we could, I think there's those people in the back. I just wanted them to be recognized. Thank you, Mr. Burdone. Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Do you want to hear from
Oh, is there
Mr.
opposition?
We have one person in opposition, but I can call Mr. Daubert now if you'd like.
I said, I mean, we don't want to belabor. Do you want to hear from Mr.
No, that's
Daubert?
fine. If there's opposition, we'll hear it, and then we'll talk about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
The next speaker is Barbara Messner.
It's unbelievable how you're commercializing everything in the city. This is Princess Anne Road. You already have problems with flooding and traffic, and you want to have an assembly, a wedding venue. Everything. The churches have events. Everybody has events. We have too much traffic. You're making funny faces, Mr. Dyer. At least you're not yelling. No, Gene Hansen, Back Bay Farms. Yeah. Why was it deferred from September 20th? I think you said there were 13 conditions that had to be met, but it's met by the people that you hire. You hire and you appoint. Planning, you hire and you appoint your staff. They're your yes men and women. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Mr. Burdon or Mr. Daubert?
Well, I just was going to make some comments. I just wanted to thank Mr. and Mrs. Daubert. It's a very important co-applicant here because they both worked very hard. But I wanted to make certain that it was clear just what is being done with this application at this time, because they do have a vision, and that vision, had been shared with many people, and it involved a lot more than this. And I just didn't want us to get down the road and people start saying, well, why aren't they doing this or why aren't they doing that? At this point, this is only the conditional use permit for the 3 acres that will involve the assembly use, and it is assembly use, not just wedding venue. So it can be other things, and I think it's really important that everybody understands what it is and what it isn't. And that's why it was deferred, so that everybody could get back on the same page and make sure everybody understood exactly what this is, because at this point, it's only what is shown on your map with the 3 acres that are involved in this particular use. If there are going to be other things done, they'll have to come in for other applications. And it's very important that the first recommendation says that when the site is developed, it shall be in substantial conformance with the submitted concept plan entitled Site Layout dated 4/29/2022 and prepared by Timmons Group, which has been exhibited to the Virginia Beach City Council and is on file in the Department of Planning and Community Development. That's the site layout you have in your application. So if there's going to be anything changed from this, anything substantially changed, it would have to come back to this body, and the public would have notification. Or if there's going to be any other use added, that would have to come back in for action. So this is only involving this 3 acres and this one use, which is assembly use. So it can be things other than a wedding venue, but it will be mainly a wedding venue. And I really appreciate all the work that they have done in talking to any group that would listen to them. And we're all going to look forward to seeing it move forward. And so with that, I'll move approval.
Do we have a second? Second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just wanted to commend the Dauberts because they've put a lot of effort into this on their own dime. They haven't asked the city for anything except this conditional use permit. So I commend you and want to thank you for your patience through this arduous process.
And if I could just say, I think, this is a process that I am glad that came to a positive conclusion. But once again, council has a responsibility to, have due diligence and, make sure things are good. But there's no question that this is going to be a successful amenity to that area. It's a beautiful part of our city, and I've been to weddings down there, and they're magnificent. And don't forget, I'm a licensed justice of the peace, too. Okay.
No advertising.
I don't charge, okay? So it wasn't a shameless bid for work, believe me. Hey, but thank you. The vote is open.
Vice Mayor Wilson, may I have your vote, please? I've still not seen. Thank you. By a vote of 10 to 0, this application has been approved.
Good job, Barbara. Okay, Madam Vice Mayor, do we have some appointments?
We do, Mr. Mayor. For the Bayfront Advisory Commission, we have Morgan Ayers. For the Housing Advisory Board, we have Hannah Sabo. For the Investigative Review Panel, we have Cliff Rice. And for the Process Improvement Steering Committee, we have Calvin Jackson Green. I think that's it for tonight.
Okay, we have the slate. The vote is open.
By a vote of 10 to 0, you have appointed those as read by Vice Mayor Wilson.
Okay, any unfinished business? Any new business? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under new business, City Council, you all should have received a resolution to request the Virginia Beach School Board to participate in our upcoming disparity studies. You should have it at your desk right now. I won't read this whole thing, but this is, I am the liaison, as well as Councilwoman Miles are the liaisons to the Minority Business Council. We received a briefing, I want to say last month now, from the Virginia Beach School Board on their contracting and participation data that was severely lacking in understanding or capturing minority participation. And so I know the city has issued a disparity study back in 2019 where 10 recommendations had come out of that. And this city, and this council has done very well by those recommendations, by implementing those recommendations. And so this resolution is for consideration to request the Virginia Beach School Board adopt a resolution indicating the willingness of the school board to participate in the city's upcoming disparity study.
Yes, thank you. Yep, Rocky.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like my name added to this as well.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we're adjourned. Thank you.